Welcome everyone to another video, and today we're going to take a look at Aggron, a steel rock type Pokemon with access to the fast move Metal Sound. Metal Sound is a fast move that generates energy relatively fast, faster than its previous fast move of choice in the form of Dragon Tail, and we are going to use that to charge up to the fast moves of Rock Tomb and Meteor Beam. Of course, the recommended moveset is Thunder, but the only thing that I see that is different in terms of the matchups is that Thunder will hit super effective towards something like a Jellicent or a Feraligatr. So other than that, I feel like both of those is relatively good, and I wanted to test out Meteor Beam as well. And we are going to pair it up with Giratina and Cresselia for that coverage against fighting and ground type, which Aggron is really bad against, and we need some bulk as well because Aggron does have quite a bit of weaknesses. So let us get into the video, and we will start off with one of the worst matchups ever in the form of Sand Attack Gliscor. As you can see here, Sand Attack is double super effective against Aggron, and they are already almost at half our HP already before we get to our Rock Tomb, and they will swap into their Golly support here, and we are going to try to hit them with the Meteor Beam, which we do, and it immediately KOs them out of here because Meteor Beam is such a high damage move. It does get the one hit KO there, and it does give us the attack boost to boot, which means that it is something that Aggron could use in certain matchups really well, because Metal Sound does not do that much damage at all. So that Meteor Beam buff does do quite a bit in terms of getting Aggron to deal a little bit more damage to help out against the Giratina and Cresselia to basically chip away at other Pokemon so that they are able to come back in to farm them down. And in this instance, when they have in the back is Virizion, which we are going to have a great time with because we do have a full health Cresselia in the back that will be able to take it out, and we are just going to take their final shield just before letting this go down or not, and we are going to shield it and just take the Virizion out without showing our Cresselia. So in the second game, we do have a Dusknoir, which is also a very complicated matchup because Dusknoir does deal super effective damage against our two backline Pokemon, and it also has access to Dynamic Punch, which will just ruin our Aggron's day for sure. But they swap into Tentacruel for whatever reason, and they get debuffed by our Rock Tomb before we swap out, and this is a very dominant matchup for us if not for that debuff, which just makes it a tad bit harder because now we even though we are throwing super effective damage against the Dusknoir, it does not do that much damage because of that debuff. And we are going to swap immediately into our Aggron, and we're going to try to invest both shields here because Aggron is very important in this particular matchup, and we will try our best to get this Pokemon out of here. Because whatever it is that they have in the back, which is this Virizion, most probably Cresselia will be able to handle it because they do need a more dedicated anti-dark type Pokemon when you have a mono ghost type in the lead. And Cresselia, of course, we're going to see now, as opposed to like the first game where we don't see Cresselia, we're going to see how Cresselia does fairly well against Virizion, and it almost takes out half health Virizion, and they do dip out, which is not a problem for us because now we are able to dip back into our Aggron and take them out. So that will be a very good game for us in this second one, and we will transition to the third one shortly, and let's just us farm down their Tentacruel and get to the Grass Knot to take it out as well. So Aggron has, so what is the stat distribution of Aggron? Aggron is quite a bulky Pokemon, I would say. I mean, it has a high defense, although its HP stat does leave a little bit to be desired. However, as you can see here, Rock Tomb does help out in that department, and there is a simultaneous switch out, and we do come out better in this instance because Virizion will not have much against this Giratina other than Stone Edge, which this one does not have, which is good for us because now we are able to farm them all the way down and get some energy for that Ampharos that will eventually come back in against us, and they try to snipe us, and that would not go well for them because our Giratina is going to be able to get to a double Dragon Claw, and it's either they are going to let this one go or they will have to use their shields. And in the back they do have a Shadow Fraligator, which is awful for us because now we have to try to chip it down to a respectable level that Cresselia is able to handle, which means that we will have to try to debuff them wherever we could. Unfortunately, they immediately throw, in which case we will have to trust in Cresselia to do as much damage as possible, in which case most probably in this game we will not be able to do because they do have both shields still intact, and at this point we will not have enough health or the energy generation to take it out. So there's one of the downfalls of this team, is that something like a Fraligator could core break this team, and Fraligator is one of the more common teams in general, and yeah, and that's where Aggron could have possibly been quite bad for us. And now in this next game we have Shadow Scizor. Shadow Scizor will not do that well against our Aggron, and they immediately swap into Walrein, and we do get the debuff on them before swapping out, and we are going to take this fairly well. Unfortunately, because of the desync, they will be able to swap back to the Shadow Scizor, and in this case we are going to let them deal this damage against us, and we are just hoping for the switch timer to come back out before we swap back into our Aggron and try to farm them down or snipe. And yeah, this is one of the good things about Aggron because it charges so fast. Now it does beg the question, like how deadly can it be if it does have like a better coverage move, right? Like if you have Rock Tomb already and Metal Sound, like how good can it be against something like Rhyperior, for example? Maybe, I don't know whether it has any access to like a water type move or a grass type move, but if it does, it will be epic if it does have access to it. But as of now, Aggron just has too many weaknesses to deal with, and it does give it a hard time generally in the Ultra League. Even now, after having access to Metal Sound and that impressive energy generation, it's still outside of the top 100 of the Ultra League rankings. And here we are going to the last battle. Let's see whether we are able to end this video with a win. We have a Tentacruel in the lead. We are going to debuff them and stay in because this is still relatively okay for us. Of course, we are going to have to swap out after this, but we are going to make sure that they are not able to, you know, get a lot of energy, and we are going to try to take them down with this sneaky Meteor Beam, and hopefully it does take them out. Unfortunately it doesn't, and we're going to try to farm them all the way down, in which case we do, but it does come at the expense of our last shield, because the opponent threw a very weird blizzard there against us. They would have been better served throwing a Scald, but yeah, good for them. Unfortunately, it's not good for us because now they will come in with a Guzzlord in the back. Now Credilli, of course, is something we have to be concerned about, but we will be able to handle it fairly well, especially in the end game when it is already chunked very low. So we are going to try to use this Giratina to get them low as well, or to try to basically seal the deal, right? Like, and with this we do get to the charge move against this Curse Lord, and we will get to another charge move against the Cresselia as well, and we are going to throw a Meteor Beam just to seal the deal. So looking at Aggron, what I can say is that it has a very good stat distribution in my view. The fast move now is very good, Rock Tomb or Meteor Beam, one of those. Yes, its charge move option is also very impressive. Unfortunately, the only downfall is that it doesn't have a very good coverage move. Thunder is its only coverage move of choice, and it is not really a good option, and it doesn't address any of its glaring weaknesses very well. So with that is the end of the video. Let me know what you think about Aggron, whether or not you will try and use it, whether it has a place right now as maybe an outside pick in Team Cups. So with that is the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one.